Hey guys, back here with another video. For this video, I'll be discussing things about figures and anatomy and certain things about the male and female figure and the main differences between both, right? So in my opinion, like from what I've studied so far and what I've seen, the main differences are in the figure between male and female is the upper body and the waist area, right? Well, that's pretty much, it's almost the whole body, but yeah, I'll explain here. So what you'll see with a figure, so here, like, you can't really tell with this figure here, male or female, right? But if I broaden the neck up, right, and increase the shoulders like that, or increase the trap size, right? The traps are these muscles here that pull the neck to side, right? That looks like it'll be a male, right? Usually, because on average, if you see a person with a huge neck, right, probably a male. Like, even if I give him a small chin, right, and a rounder face, you know, because women usually do have a rounder face compared to most men, like in terms of the smoothness of the bones, right? It still looks like a male figure because of the shoulders and the traps and the neck, right? But if I erased all that and have the same kind of frame as before, right? And I just kind of slender out the neck a bit, right? Like I could continue that and draw it into a female figure. And the thing about the female figure is that the muscle compared to the male figure is gonna be less. And even if it is a lot, certain areas like the neck and the trap and the upper body muscles, they're not gonna be as big, or they're just gonna be more on the smoother side. And the reason for this is because, like, if you look at male and female athletes and you like compare the bodies, you will see that usually on average males will have like just like usually the neck and the traps will grow like way more. I mean, you could also see it in people that use steroids, right? You'll see that they have like the first things that grow in a person that uses steroids, especially for a male, will usually be the traps, the shoulders, and, like, you know, it's usually because I think it has something to do with the male hormone or something. But yeah, it's like if I want to draw like a really like masculine is not the right word, but if I wanted to just draw like a really like beefy guy, right? First things I'll increase the size over just the traps and the neck. And the upper chest, you know, follows. And they'll just make the shoulders big. Give them like the striations in the shoulder. So the striations are just those lines where where the muscle kind of just separates. You just see it above the skin. So yeah. And so let me just continue with the female figure now. So with the female figure, it's the main things, the main differences you'll see. So it's that in the upper body here is the slenderness of not slenderness, but like just the neck is just, you know, it's something you got to look out for, because when you make the neck really thick, it can change it could throw off the upper body. Like if you accidentally make the neck thick on a body that's more on the slender side or a less muscle tone, and for some reason the neck is the only thing that's big, like you could throw off the whole body. But for some men, for some reason, you just got a thick neck. Like it just happens, especially with like people that do like some kind of martial art or wrestling. They'll just have like a bigger neck on average. I mean, it happens for women too, but usually for most people, right? Most people do not work out their necks because there's no point. But they say if you do work out your neck, you get like, you know, resistance to like car accident, not resistance, but it reduces the risk of getting like a concussion or something when you get whiplash or something. But yeah, so one main difference between the male and female is the chest, right? So for the male chest, let me draw both torsos here. So we're starting off with torsos here, right? For the male chest, when you look at the rib cage, the cavity on the bottom of the rib cage opens up by like 90 degrees, right? For the female, it opens up about 60, right? And the effect that that has on the torso is that for the male, it makes the torso wider, therefore the chest will be bigger, right? For the female torso, it makes the upper chest smaller. Because what connects to the rib cage are like oblique muscles, ab muscles, and the muscles that kind of roll the shoulder forward. They connect to that upper rib cage, right? And the next thing is the hips. So here I drew the hips roughly the same size, but just because of how much smaller the rib cage is here, there's more of a, what's that thing called, where it's like the waist goes in, right? And so you're kind of left with this curve. And so it also affects how the legs look, right? These legs are very long, but it's also because I didn't draw the head. But yeah, let me add the head in here. Well, yeah, so you see, just having the chest bigger in this area, it kind of leads to a more blockier physique, which most men tend to have a blockier figure, right? And most women tend to have a curvier figure, right? Of course it changes, there's a whole spectrum. But if I'm gonna be like displaying the main differences, I'll have to really contrast them. So what I'm gonna have to do is like, I'm not gonna draw a figure like that. But what I'm gonna do here is just, I'm showing here a figure that's more upper body dominant. And even still, like I kind of messed up and I drew massive legs here. But here the upper body is pretty big. And the thing is, most people don't really walk around built, you know, like they're not, like, most people aren't bodybuilders, you know. And I'm also drawing this way because, like, for the sake of comic books and stuff, like, everybody tends to draw characters more on the beefier side, right? But yeah, so that's the main difference here, rib cage and the hips, right? For the female, the hips usually are bigger. I mean, they always are bigger, like compared to males. And not necessarily like the upper body usually, yeah, it is bigger for males, but like for females it's a normal size, but just because that the hips are usually big too, it just kind of makes the upper body kind of look smaller. That's really it. And because also the hips are bigger, like that hip bone connects more to the outside, so it creates like, it can create like a dip over here between the hip bone and the beginning of the thigh, right? See, they're roughly the same height, and you could see right away. You could tell both figures are different, right? And it's mainly just because of the differences in the, like, it's just this area here, really, that changes everything. Because the rib cage and the hips, and the neck does change. Like if I make the neck size bigger, you see how it makes the body already look a little bit stronger. Like neck size always correlates with strength, right? And you can use that to your advantage whenever you're drawing a specific kind of character. Yeah. If I'm trying to draw like a really like weak character, I'm not gonna give him a big neck, right? And if I'm trying to draw a really strong character, I really gotta give him a big neck like that guy, right there. But yeah, you see here main differences, and now I'll move on to something a bit different. So I'm going to draw a female figure, but I'm going to focus on whoops, I should zoom out a bit. But yeah, I'll focus on the muscles this time, right? Now, we'll draw a female figure and make it more muscular, right? But at the same time, not lose like that, you know, that feminine aspect, right? Because it's very easy when you're drawing a figure, right? Like for example, take a character like Wonder Woman, right? She's usually drawn in a very muscular tone, but she still looks feminine, right? And you see, just having that rib cage indent in further than if I were to draw a male figure. If I were to draw a male figure, I would kind of just continue like that, and then have the lats on more, like kind of visible from the front like that, right? And it's just because the ribs are more flared out, so the lats will be connecting. You know, they'll be further out because everything's pushed out more because of the expanded rib cage. So I'm going to do it because the rib cage goes in, because it's a female figure, right? The lats might still be visible from the back depending on how muscular the figure is, right? Now let me just do that. I'll do it softly so, you know, kind of know where the rib cage is. And then the hips, and then the beginning of the legs. Now, I usually keep the shoulders big on male and female figures. I like drawn shoulders that way. It's just my style. I know not everybody has big shoulders, but I feel like it always gives like the figure some kind of gives it like, I don't know. It feels like the shoulders really define the limb, right? The arms, the upper body. It just feels fun to draw them. All right, so that's basically the upper body, right? Without majority of the body without the legs, right? Now, see here, I didn't make the neck too big, and it's not too small. It's like just the right size, right? To show that the character is strong, but at the same time still make it look feminine. Now, when it comes to the face, I also like to soften up the features too. And now I'll move on to the torso. So one thing a lot of people find difficult to draw is the breast area. Breasts are just kind of like, just like any other body part where they interact with gravity. So here, if she's just standing still, be moving to the side and just going down, right? And so if there's clothes on top here, so we'll draw like a tank top or something. And so the way it will change will be like this because of the tank top. So the tank top here, you'll see the outline a bit. Wait, let me just erase that whole thing. I'll redo it. And because she's muscular, you'll see like the pec, right? And then the way it kind of connects it to the shoulder or the arm is over here. And then you'll see a shadow there because that's kind of the back muscles here, and then tank top will just go in like that. And so sometimes, depending on the size of the breast, it's like it'll change the folds and the, you know, the, what's it called? The stretch marks in the clothing, right? And now for the pants over here, like maybe you could give like a, just for fun, a belt buckle. I always like drawing belt buckles on people. All right. Kind of have like that jeans, the part on the jeans over there. And then for women, like you'll see the folds where the hips kind of begin, and I mean the hips end and the what are they called? The thighs begin, right? All right, so that's one figure down. And then we'll draw like a few more. So draw some up here. So here we'll draw a figure that's just, you know, average size or something. We'll see what happens. I don't really know. I'm not planning this stuff thoroughly. I should have. So like I said before, for me, I just draw shoulders big on everybody. I don't know why, but yeah. And here, when you draw it from the side view, the breast doesn't do this from the side. It just doesn't, because then you're just saying that it connects to this part of the chest, which is the center of the pec, which doesn't make any sense. It kind of just works with gravity and it falls from the side. So you're gonna imagine a shape like that, right? And then it will just be lifted up depending on the whatever the clothing is, right? give her a pocket here, so just draw a t-shirt. Now over here, we'll draw the figure slender at first, right? Now the leg, it's got this thing where it's kind of like a triangular prism, right? Then here, it's kind of rounder, right? And then here's the rib cage again, like last time, and the hips. Now we can kind of bring in the shoulders a bit more. Now you see how we're increasing whatever we feel like the muscle mass or the fat or whatever, it just increases, right? Depending on how, whatever you want to do with the figure, right? Whatever you want, like, you just add on. And here you have to remember, like, the pecs connect with the shoulder, kind of, right? But the arms are always behind them. So here you got the pecs, and then it leads into the breast. And the breast move into the center, where the kind of the end of the rib cage is, kind of like the sternum, it's called. Right? And then you got the hips over here. So you could kind of imagine, like, and this area here, like the belly. And so just practicing the different locations and knowing the shapes and everything, it'll help you a lot, tremendously. And also on the side of the leg here, there's more fat than this side. So on this side of the leg, and then you could also increase it on that side too. Now we could draw fabric on top of it and see how it ends up. Alright, hope that video helped. We went over a lot of stuff in this video, and I feel like it's a very big topic, and so it's hard to cover everything. It's pretty much like learning female and male anatomy is pretty much the same. Like, all the muscles are the same. It's just the way that the person you're drawing is, right? So it depends on the personality too, and the way that the figure is. What's the word? Strength isn't the right word. It depends on how, like for the male figure, like depending on how strong the person looks, you're gonna draw muscles differently and stuff like that. So it all really depends on the behavior you want to show. So if you want to like really feminine like figure, right, you can always change the amount of kind of smoothness to the figure, right? Like a very masculine figure is not going to be smooth. It's just going to go against what you're trying to do if you make him really smooth. Like this figure over here, for example, right? We can make him look more masculine if we just kind of see how we kind of like block up those muscles a bit more, right? Give him more of a denser kind of, not rectangular shape, but it's just, there's more edges, right? But with a female figure, right, you could kind of just, it's like with these figures that I drew here, all three of them, they look pretty muscular, but you could also see that when I drew the muscles, they're rounder, right? Everything is round about the muscles here, or like even the hips, like you could see them here. It's everything is round, right? Even with this figure, she's more on the athletic side, yet everything is still round, right? So with the shape language between male and female, it's like you increase the roundness for female figures and you increase the edges on the male figure, and it kind of gives you this contrast. When you draw them together, you could tell the difference right away. Even though here I didn't really draw much on both of these figures, but you could just tell because of the shape, you know, even though there's no face, right? And you know, the bodies are plain here. It's just structure here, and you could still kind of tell a difference. Yeah, but I hope you guys learned from this video. You know, leave any comments, like, subscribe if you ain't subscribed already, and if you got any questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching. Laters.